Welcome to KR Films Entertainment Channel. Hi everyone, it's well good and it's a brief retelling of What's Your Number. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe and hit the notification bell. The movie begins with a girl named Ellie waking up next to the boyfriend Rico. She quickly runs to the bathroom to clean herself up, and after waking up Rick compliments Sally and notices that she always looks good in the morning. Tomorrow Ellie asked Rico to go to his sister Daisy's wedding but he claims that it's to see we'll see step in that relationship. That's not what she wanted to hear, which makes her angry and she kicks the guy out of the door. When Ellie arrives at work, who both Roger informative that she's going to be fired. It turns out that she's not the only one who got laid off of set. The girl walks into the subway with a box of things. When she looks through a magazine, she discovers that the average number of lovers that women have in their lives is 10.5 men. Concerned by this fact, Lydia cites try to a list of all the men she's ever slept with. The next day Ellie goes to Daisy's wedding rehearsal. When she meets with their mother, she finds out that she refuses to invite her father to the wedding. When Ellie finishes, at least she realizes that she slept with 19 men downstairs. Ellie gives a speech while in a high spirits alcoholic mood. She they insult these his fiancée AT and breaks a dish during the toast. In the evening, Ellie sits with their friends City Bar, where she proposes to play game to see how many men they have slept with. According to the results of the game, the guild is this that she has had the most labouis. When her friends begin to tell you that she has less chance of getting married now, the guild is very determined to the next guy she spends the night with will be the same. However, the next day Ellie wakes up in bed next to the former both. Roger, who's also at the bar, really gets dressed in a hurry to call DC since she doesn't remember anything but his is to inform so that Elle spit on her when they tried to get her out of the bar. When Roger wakes up trying to think of a way to get him out of the bar as quickly as possible, unexpectedly a neighbor named Colin comes to the girl and asks to borrow her food because it can't get into his apartment. Colin notices how ineptly Ellie tells to Roger off, so he decides to help the girl. As soon as Roger leaves the apartment, Ellie notices the girl leaving Colin's apartment and he admits that he is hiding from her. After the girl leaves, Colin immediately didn't do his apartment. A little late to the sisters are tasting Daisy's wedding cake when Ellie notices a guy named Donald who she once dated. Miguel is very happy to see him as she's surprised that he's lost so much weight and is already engaged. Ellie is embarrassed by their meeting and has to lie to get out of the conversation. She begins to realize that perhaps Oliver Rexes have gotten much better with age. At home, Ellie starts looking for access, but after drinking heavily she faints. When she wakes up, she is Colin talking to another girl free one night stand and goes out to ask him for help in finding her access, but the get refuses to help her because he thinks it's have folded the dumped her. After thinking for a while, Ellie runs into Colin's apartment and trick them into taking her home. She then makes a deal with them in which in exchange for his stable she promises to help them avoid girls for one night. Colin agrees and takes a sandwich for it. An early hands email list of names of her access of to watch. He meets with Easy to help her pick out a wedding dress. Suddenly she receives a text message from Cole saying that he has found Diva, one of her access. They meet Cole that he bought where Deed works as a bartender. He is disappointed in the guy who's never accomplished anything in life and continues to bartend as he did years ago, so the guild decides to leave it outside. Colin asks Ellie why she won't sleep with him and assumes it's because the guild doesn't want to raise a body count. IDL, he thinks that no one else will look at her normally, knowing about her love experience. The next morning he wakes up and finds Colin sleeping on her couch. Since he has a girlfriend at home now, he hides in his apartment until she leaves. Then he tells he found one of her access is even, but it turns out he's already married and has children. A week Colin and early work to find the other access. The girl decides to concentrate on Simon was going through a divorce and selling his house, so called an advisor to go and see the house to set up a chance meeting. However, upon arriving at the address, he discovers that she has accidentally going to Donald's house. Confused, Ellie makes up a story about buying the house with a fiancé. Then she runs out into the street in a hurry, forgetting coin in the house. A moment later the guild bumps into Simon. Could immediately recognizes her and invited to the pub. Really soon neighbors that she gets drunk and starts spinning Simon off with a terrible English accent, but he doesn't go according to plan. The girl returns home alone. A few hours later the couple is having fun on the roof and Collins is on. Next target is Jerry, a guy she despises, but since the girl has no other options she agrees. In the morning illegals to Joe his puppet show with Colin and his nephew. The go Twister talked to her ex-boyfriend, but since job we still obsessed with assisted bees. The conversation doesn't work out and Italy leaves right away. A few hours later DC meets with her because she's afraid to admit her mother herself that she will kill his father to the wedding. Hearing the news about her father, the girl's mother gets angry and says that in this case she will not come. After an unfortunate meeting, Ellie tells Basie that she's going to fly to Miami to meet Barrett, one of her exes who became a gynecologist. A couple of days later, Ellie walks into Barry's office and is excited to meet him, but he can't remember until the girl spreads her legs. Upset, Elle returns home for apparently Colin. She is a Robin tells her that he found Tom, a politician from Washington, and the girl decides to fly for them the next day so as not to waste time. Upon arriving in Washington, Ellie once again runs into Donald and the guy begins to suspect that she's stalking him. A little later, Ellie arrives at the library where she finds Tom. The Gillies is extremely awkward about setting up a meeting, but with goes well and she calls Colin to tell him what happened and that Tom invited her to dinner and even bought her a dress. Colin can tell he's jealous but doesn't say anything. In the evening, Ellie goes to dinner with Tom and everything goes just fine except for the fact that Tom is gay. The net wants Ellie to be his wife will cover since he wants to run for president had broken. Ellie returns home where she's joyfully welcomed by Colin. The guy tries in every way to cheer the girl lab, and when she says that now she has no one to go to his wedding, Webb Colin offers to go with her, to which she agrees. Of a little later, the couple goes to the basketball court where Colin used to work and is a great time playing goat strip, but everything is spoiled by a security guard who shows up at the wrong time. Luckily, the couple manages to escape. At home, Colin notices that all of us shoots are constantly being taken by girls. To Chelsea replies that it had a fewer casual encounters he would have kept his shit. It's so cool, and decides to take a shit right off of Ali, which eventually leads to a kiss. However, lovemaking never comes to fruition. In the morning, Ellie wakes Elle before calling to have time to clean herself up, but the guy is already awake and says that she looks amazing. College offers to make breakfast, but a little remembers that she needs to meet DC at the 4 Lava store. When Ellie meets with their friends, she tells them that she's coming to the wedding with Colin, but the girls warn her that this is not the best choice because the guy has a reputation as a womanizer and she shouldn't sleep with them, much less date him. Coming home, Ellie's working on her sculptures when suddenly she finds information in Colin's phone about Cheek have the stack. Its boyfriend who call head from her. The Gillies angry at the guy and doesn't want to see him anymore because he liked her. Ellie then leave voicemail message reminding an over south. The girl anxiously prepares for a beat and soon the meet. Annie looks ag rapturously and doesn't even notice how her hair has caught fire, quickly getting rid of them. The guild weeds Chicken is a wonderful time over dinner only that invites him to her house and shows in her sculptures, after which they kiss passionately. The next day, Alien Daisy needed their mother's house to break the news that dad is coming with his young girlfriend, but the news doesn't upset her mother because he's more interested in nearly coming with Jake. The young people's relationship starts to develop and they officially started dating. Well, colonists is still pinning for Raleigh on the deal. Daisy's wedding, Coin and Millie bump into each other and it turns out that Colin is going to another wedding really knows nothing about. When only arrives at the wedding, she has a great time and for the first time in a long time has a heart-to-heart with Ofa. Other hidden dances with Jake and decides to tell the guy that is not the first guy she slept with, but he's not worried about it and says it doesn't matter if he becomes your last event. Offers to go on a business trip with them for 6 months, but the girl was not prepared for such a turn of events. During the acceptance speech, earlier realizes that Cheek is not the man she was to be with. She sadly admits this to him, saying that he is too perfect for her. Jake leaves feeling of Santa. Emily gets up her courage to tell him mother the truth. Naturally, her mother gets angry and reprimands early for missing out on such a man, but they are male. He tells her that she loves Colin, appreciates Silly for who she has with all him minuses. The situation is diffused by Daz, who announces that she's 4 months pregnant and all the attention goes to her. Taking the opportunity, he runs away from the wedding to find Colin. The visiting all sorts of weddings and town. The guild finally makes it to the one where she sports Colin, but the gods stop the Indian, France and Italy. Anil decides to play I do with the fans to get into the wedding. Legalize the stage and tries to talk to Colin. The guy's probably busy with something, literally disrupts the performance and takes cool in a way to talk. The Gillies perplexed and asks why she's doing this. Ellie admits that she was wrong and she was just afraid that Cohen would be another Rax and her odd would be broken. Also apologizes for keeping information about Jake from her, but luckily the couple forgives each other after a while. Alien call are in bed when suddenly a voicemail from one of our exes comes on the answering machine saying that they never made love because the girl was drunk and passed out in the shower. Really if Daily realizes that call it is number 20 on her list. Hoping he'll be the last, and that's where the movie ends. Thank you for watching.